Dad, you were right. As the realization settles into my soul that I no longer have my father, I feel a different perspective as my place in the world. My dad was a successful, self-made entrepreneur. What angers me most about losing my dad to Alzheimer's is that when we huddled around his deathbed, he couldn't give me that one last crucial piece of advice to follow and pass on to my son. Seems like all I can remember is never commit a felony if you can get away with a misdemeanor. Dad, you were right. In contrast, I was awarded 43 years of school of the arts of being human. Over the last 5 years of my dad's life, I tried to recall the lessons that my dad pounded into me over several generations of my life and of his. And there were many occasions that my dad had to sit with me as I tried to reassemble the mess that I had created by stepping outside the boundaries of life in an attempt to restate the rules and repair the damage. We became very close. My dad would tell me, someday you'll have a child of your own, and you need to do the same thing. Dad, you were right. My dad taught me to save money. He said I would need it later, and just because I had it didn't mean I needed to spend it. My dad taught me how to be a man. He started this lesson from about the time I could walk. Finish what you started is what I usually heard, right along with be fair to others and always do your best. And keep practicing what's important because you can always do better. And when in business negotiation, we should agree to do the right thing. My dad actually taught me to add a do-right clause to any contract that we sign. If both parties agreed to do right, we wouldn't even need attorneys in this world. Dad, you were right. When a man applies these qualities to his life, he builds a thing we call integrity. This is the word that I think best describes my father. I can only dream of someday living up to the level of integrity that he showed me by his examples. Dad, you were right. My father taught me the most important things in life. I remember some of the really important lessons that he taught me through the years. It started with, don't stick beans up your nose. My dad taught me how to ride a bike, how to tie my shoes, drive a car, drive a boat, how to water ski, how to drive a nail with one hit with a hammer, that I should always make my bed up in the morning, and how to roll up a garden hose into a perfect little coil, and do the same thing with electrical cords too. Every wheel in my life should have packed wheel bearings. Taught me how to change the oil in my car. Taught me how to fish, catch a baseball, and determine the amortization schedule for a loan. My dad, through my pop, I learned there's no sense in having a spare tire in the trunk if it doesn't have any air in it. Should always take care of my tools. An extremely large pair of pliers can fix just about anything. Dad, you were right. But Pop was always understanding of the fact that I would disassemble anything mechanical and fix it. That was even if it wasn't even broken when I started. My dad taught me how to cook food over the campfire, and there's nothing that couldn't be cooked in a frying pan. Hey, Dad, you were right. In business, I should think about important decisions overnight. Any deal that can't see the light of day usually was of no value. I should always have a suit of clothes cleaned and ready to wear. You never know when you're going to need it. With all this good advice, I would argue with my father about the rules and whether or not they applied to me. As it turns out, Pop, you were always right. I inherited from my dad the ability to stay calm in a crisis and be able to go berserk with little things. Thanks to my Pop, I'm a loyal listener of talk radio, and I grew up to idolize a man by the name of Paul Harvey. And nothing, absolutely nothing good happens after midnight. Dad, you're absolutely right. Still hear that voice in my head. It sounds like my dad. And it tells me to apply all the things that I know in my heart to be the right thing and not involve myself in things that cause harm to the world or to others. Chuck Tolbert was a fearless man. When I was young, I saw him as a rowdy Chuck Norris and as cool as Clint Eastwood. I did get to know my dad better as I became an adult. Pop became human, and I realized that there was something obvious. He had one thing that he was really afraid of. He feared most and he wanted to make sure he would never have to attend the funeral of any of his own kids. Our foremost lesson from my dad was survival. Pop was tough on the boys that he raised because we really did need it. Hey, Dad, you were right. My father was a master of conquering problems, usually with hard work and good common sense. My dad believed in family and looking after his family. He believed in a good education, dedication to your work, service to your God, service to your community. And always be fair when you play with others. Pop, I really did hear all those things that you told me. And you really were right. I really do miss you.